Did YouTube's golden child, Mark Rober, lie about Tesla and its self-driving cars? And did he promote, unironically, a competitor to Tesla? I don't know, but we're gonna watch this video called "This Mistake Just Ruined Mark Rober's Image." It's an Atozy video. Shout outs to Atozy. We love him here on this channel. Um, I don't really own an I don't own an electric car. I used to. Not a fancy one. Uh, I drive way too much to own an electric car. I have no interest in owning a Tesla, regardless of whatever reason some people might have. I don't really care for any of that drama, nor do I care for an electric car. Maybe. I don't know. The only one that I really like so far is the Hummer EV, but those things are so expensive. They're a little overpriced for what they are. But that's here nor there. We're going to watch this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I have not seen any of this, but I'll do my best to be fair and balanced. Let's get into it.
This mistake might have just ruined Mark Rober's image for a while, as it seems like things could have been done in a little bit more of a transparent way. But if Mark Rober did this on purpose, that's up for discussion. So let's go through the details. On this date, Mark Rober posted a video titled, "Can you fool a self-driving car?" And that's exactly what he tries to do.
Which, by the way, I'm not subscribed to him, and nor have I seen the original video, so I wouldn't know the context of any of this.
And that more expensive tech seems to have taken part in the video by providing a vehicle for him to test against the Tesla. So the reason he still chose to use autopilot. And this is how he introduced the challenge.
I came up with a 6-part LiDAR versus camera head-to-head face-off, culminating in
Who the hell is LiDAR? I've never heard of that company.
So from everyone's understanding of that introduction, the Tesla is running on autopilot. Then obviously they had a Lexus kitted out with Luminar's LiDAR system running a version of autopilot as well. But the first few tests involved kids in the road, and clearly the Tesla did not perform well at all.
Tesla owner, there is a silver lining. Sadly, it did not.
Now obviously that was controversial, but most of the focus was around this part.
Okay, all right. Okay. Sorry. I was seeing all this stuff pop up on my feed, and because Mark Rober's a big YouTuber, and we're a YouTuber family here, believe it or not. This channel's YouTuber Andy's. I was seeing the discussion online that he promoted this, or supposedly, allegedly, was promoting this technology without disclosing it. Because it's like there was the whole idea of inconsistencies and stuff like that, but it's just really interesting that that's the technology that was chosen.
Yeah, that didn't pass at all. And people on the internet were quick to point out that at 15:29 here, as he was approaching the wall, the Tesla was not running autopilot, as you can see by the lack of the rainbow road on the infotainment screen there. Then you see at 15:34, it suddenly turns on. And then here at 15:42, the autopilot for some reason is not on again, right as he hit the wall. And the way it's edited, it almost looks like it could be conveniently hiding something. For context, I'll play the quick clip here.
It's off.
I guess just to make damages worse, they added the same crash dummy kid behind the wall as well.
Oh, geez. GG's, boy. I remember when that kid came out, it was like, oh, there's another one of Elon's kids that he doesn't tell anybody about. But I just think, like, okay, so do I care? Do I care how Tesla's represented? I don't know. I don't really care. I guess I don't really care about really any car company. Believe it or not, I don't care unless they want to sponsor me. Then we can have a talk. But I don't know. I'm not a car. I used to be a cars guy, but like I don't make cars content, nor do I really care for new cars. I just want something that works, right? And that isn't expensive to repair either. I'm simple-minded in that sense, but I do think, as an outsider with no context to the situation and kind of just seeing this conversation happen online, I do think it's kind of fishy from Mark Rober's perspective. And a lot of people are saying, like, Mark Rober would never do anything sketchy. But it's like he literally would partner with Logan Paul around the CryptoZoo time, like the era of CryptoZoo. So it's like you can't also blame I don't know, like, you can't say that he's smart, but then say that he doesn't know what he's doing at the same time. You know what I mean? Or say that he doesn't know what he's doing, but also that he's super smart. Like, it's one of those weird situations where I think that because there's so much tension around Tesla, a car company, because of Elon, I think people are just so hell bent on being one way or the other when this should be more of a conversation about what Mark Rober did, because that kind of just doesn't seem right, to be honest. Um, but we'll see.
And the YouTuber Meet Kevin thinks Tesla has quite the case against Mark Rober because he didn't use the full self-driving mode.
Cases, even their autopilot technology may have been disabled. Tesla could have a pretty big argument against Mark Rober here.
Yeah, I feel like that would be the worst nightmare for any creator. I mean, you're just out here trying to make a viral YouTube video and then suddenly you get sued by the 11th largest company in the world.
Which so context. I do know that this guy's a Tesla fanboy because all the discussion online, like I have no stake in this. I don't really care. But the discussion online is pointing out that he's a Tesla fanboy and he's just going to defend it no matter what. But I do think, as someone on the outside, there's merit to be said that if you're comparing the latest self-driving technologies between LiDAR and Tesla, you should then be using the latest self-driving technology rather than the autopilot. Again, let me repeat. If you're comparing self-driving, the latest self-driving technology, you should be actually doing that and actually putting it in the mode. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, it's it's gonna be, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter." But it does. If you're being very technical in the sense of self-driving, I think you have to. Now, the Tesla fanboys will be like very technical on the words, but in this situation, like as much as I hate like the nitpicking stuff, I actually think the Tesla fanboys are right on this one. It's kind of crazy. It sounds weird to agree because I like Mark Rober for the most part. I mean, I'm not subscribed to him, but the videos that I have watched, you know, I do think he can be a good guy, but that's actually a huge oversight. That's huge, actually. Yeah.
No, thank you. But it's safe to say this video got a reaction. There was a lot of viral tweets calling out.
And then how conveniently it's happened. This was released when Tesla is not in a good place right now. How convenient. I think that's so weird. Maybe that's the American skeptic in me being like, that's a little coincidental, no?
This video.
It's
One
a little
of which was a thread with about 8 million views so far. And here it says the video is filled with deception, lies, and illegal undisclosed advertising. I'm not sure
I
about
saw
that
that
last allegation here.
popped up
but
in my feed.
We'll get into that later on. In the video, Tesla does not detect the wall and goes straight through it. On top of that, there is a kid mannequin that gets absolutely nailed at the end. But there's a few things Mark doesn't tell you. First of all, he lied about full self-driving. He didn't even use FSD. He used autopilot, which even Tesla admits is an older, not as strong technology. But even worse, he deactivates it right before he hits the wall. In a sneaky maneuver, he moves the wheel to deactivate the autopilot.
Now, I don't know. Again, I don't know how true that is. In the sense of him, I'm not calling him. Okay, you can't see because my camera's in the way. But did he deactivate the autopilot? I don't know about Tesla's enough, right? But I do know self-driving cars, for some, depending on how reckless the driver is, will just say, you know what, fuck it, dude. If like, it's kind of, I mean, but even then, it's like you have to be really reckless. So I guess that doesn't even count. Scratch that argument, because you would have to be really fucking crazy for the car to even like to just be like, fuck it, dude. But no, I just think like the first part of not using self-driving and then comparing the terminology of self-driving but using autopilot, I think that's extremely disingenuous. The marketing, the free marketing stuff, I am a little skeptical, but I don't see enough proof for me to be like, yeah, that's what he was doing. Because it could just be a case of this is the only tech we can really find that is widely used enough to compare. that's based maybe in the US or that isn't like a Chinese version, because ironically a lot of these Chinese Chinese softwares are just knockoffs or stolen. I like just straight up stolen. So I don't know. I agree with him. I don't know about the marketing
which even
stuff.
Tesla admits is an older, not as strong technology. But even worse, he deactivates it right before he hits the wall. In a sneaky maneuver,
Yeah, I
he
don't know if
moves
this
the
one's
wheels to deactivate
actually the
autopilot.
case.
Then he
But obviously the editing is just really bad in that sense.
points out the stock of the company that he promoted or indirectly promoted, depending on who you ask, is up $50 million in market
Jesus
cap
Christ.
right after the video released.
That's
so the company went
actually-
up about 27% in one single day after this video was released. But then the thread starts throwing out even more allegations, saying that on top of that, he lies about other sponsors. He regularly shows Google Pixel phones. In the video itself, he shows a Pixel filming the video. Look close enough at the reflection of the Tesla, he's actually filming with an iPhone and edited the shot to look like a Pixel.
Yo, okay. That's, if you don't see it, like here, it's in the video. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. And you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? It takes a real fanboy to be a hater enough to really nitpick frame by frame, because an average person like me would have never caught that. But because he's such a fanboy, he's like, I'm gonna actually go in there and dissect him. Even if he was wrong, like this is stuff only real fanboys can find. So even though he's right, he might be right in this situation, he's valid. It just still doesn't, it's still crazy. Sometimes hating is the only way to expose people, That's what a catch, dude. That's some real.
Okay, hold up. That is odd if that is actually true. Why would he do that? Why would he
Yeah.
not just film with a Google Pixel? If you're being paid to use
Yeah.
Google Pixels, why aren't you just using a Google Pixel? But then on top of that, people also pointed out that the Google logo on the phone is suddenly in landscape here at 13.
Holy
13:52 in his
shit,
video.
dude.
So,
That's
I don't know
crazy.
what's going on there? Okay, I'm coming back like 16 hours later. So my editing team and I, we spent a lot of time looking for an explanation for this. And so far, it definitely doesn't look like they replaced the phones in an edit, as there's no errors in the footage, even when zoomed way in. I mean, we've been scrubbing the whole footage at a pixel level and there's literally zero flaws. So it doesn't seem edited to us. The two explanations that I can find for the Google logo sideways is either he's using a phone case or an unreleased phone.
I don't know. This guy has like producer money. I think he produced a show. So I don't know. If that is true, I don't know. So I just think the level of editing that he has available to him is not available to a Tozy. I just think that's crazy. So then, like, unless he just leaked the phone, it could just be, honestly, you know what? Maybe we're making the big deal and it could just be an unreleased phone, because that's crazy.
Another thing that backs that it's not edited is here's a screenshot of the phone being used the other way, and the logo is upside down. Also, it just doesn't look like they try to hide the iPhone. If they spent all of this time hypothetically editing a Google logo onto an iPhone, they would cover up the reflection. Because if you're hypothetically going to do that, that would be hundreds of hours of editing. So why wouldn't you cover up the reflection? But overall, we think there were multiple takes, and in some cases they used Google Pixels, and other cases they used iPhones. And then the final part of this thread here is he points out that Mark posted a video showing the full clip, but he's alleging that it's a completely different clip. So I thought we'd take a look at that together as well.
That's crazy.
Here we go. Here we go. Holy shit!
Yeah, I don't know. Let's put the original and the alleged raw footage side by side here.
Here we go. Holy.
Editing team, what do you guys think?
Editor note, multiple takes, not same perspective nor distance from the wall. Hey, again, you know what?
It doesn't look like the same clip to me.
So him hanging out with Logan Paul is why this video exists.
as the speedometer seemingly gives it away, as the autopilot was engaged at 39 miles an hour in the YouTube video, then at 42 miles an hour in the video that was posted to Twitter. Something's not right here. No way did both Mark Rober and Marcus Brownlee get exposed by a speedometer in the same year. Then
That's
people pointed out that
crazy.
the wall seems to be pre-cut, like they wanted the crash to happen. So, taking all these things together, it looks a little sus. For Mark, I mean, best case, questionable test. Worst case, he might get sued by Tesla for trying to make the most entertaining and viral video out of his test. And then you also have, you know, his image being put into jeopardy as well.
But some of these YouTubers don't care. They get the money. He probably got some crazy money for this video.
Meanwhile, Luminar, the company that was also involved in this video, is apparently in hot water as well, even though it seems like they're the clear winner of the situation with their massive stock gain just days before their earnings, which is coming in at March 20th.
Wow,
So
how
great for them.
convenient.
But
How
apparently
convenient.
Luminar were advertising Mark's video on their website, but quickly removed it when the internet backlash started. Then on top of that, another, I guess, PR disaster for Luminar and Mark is you have this tweet from Mark back in 2022 thanking the CEO of Luminar for a massive donation towards Team C's. Then you have another tweet that's currently doing rounds on the Luminar topic by Phil Truby here that says a PR disaster unfolding in real time here on X. Luminar, a LiDAR manufacturer, needs more sales, so it decided to hook up with YouTuber Mark Rober of Glitter Bomb fame to make a video showcasing how LiDAR works better than Tesla's Vision, only system for self-driving. I'm not so sure about the fringe.
That's a look. Hey, man. Mark Rober, bro. Why did you have to hang out with Logan Paul? Logan Paul it's the Logan Paul effect, man.
But Mark put together a contrived scenario of driving into a silly Wile E. Coyote canvas of a painted roadway. LiDAR sees it as solid, but Tesla's Vision might be tricked into thinking it's a road. But he had to fake the contrived scenario, not using Tesla's latest FSD system, using a 5-year-old autopilot system, and frame-by-frame analysis showed that autopilot wasn't even enabled at the time of the crash. Then the Tesla community goes nuts over the weekend, but Monday rolls around and his 65 million YouTube subscribers decide to buy Luminar stock, pumping it up by 25%. So
Crazy.
now apparently there's a very real threat of an SEC investigation. Luminar had touted the video on its website before taking it down for stock pumping and ultimate irony. Guess who was Luminar's biggest customer before this? Yeah, Tesla, who bought it to do testing and training of their vision system. Oh, okay, so that's really interesting.
This is getting crazy, bro. Oh, that's why, you know what? Someone like me just keeps it simple because I don't like getting involved with this. Is some serious shit. He can get it. I don't think he'll get into real trouble because it's Mark Rober and YouTubers tend to get away with a lot of shit. But
Dang. Also,
crazy
this tweet
work.
is definitely making a lot of assumptions, but still interesting. But they ended by saying, I don't think Tesla is going to be buying too many more Luminar LiDARs going forward.
No.
Federal investigations, lawsuits, lost sales. I suspect a marketing VP is going to be looking for a new job soon. Okay, so that is actually a super unexpected spin that Tesla was allegedly the main customer for this LiDAR company, and this LiDAR company might have just bit the hand that fed it by being involved in this video. What did Mark just walk himself into here? Oh man, I would not want to be standing in between two massive companies here. Doesn't sound like the best.
So let me ask you this. So let's say he wasn't, his defense, is he going to play dumb? Like the thing is, this is what I said in the beginning of the video. You can't play, if you're Mark Rober, people defend him by claiming that he just doesn't know. But then he's like smart at the same time. So it's like, this is a real situation where this is bad. This is, as someone looking outside in, there's just too many question marks on the integrity of what's going on to be like, yeah, this is tricky.
Positioning. But keep this in mind because thankfully Philip DeFranco was able to get Mark into an interview this quickly to talk about all this.
Uh-oh.
And here, the first thing he addressed was choosing autopilot rather than the full self-driving for the test.
Was there any reason you opted to test autopilot on the Tesla instead of full self-driving?
My understanding with full self-driving is that you have to enter an address for it to work. As opposed to just being able to engage it. And this is what Tesla is called autopilot, and even Googling it, seeing what they determine they determine as autopilot. And my understanding is that the sensor is not different, whether it's full step driving or autopilot. Knowing if that's a wall or not, that doesn't change. So I think I'd be happy to rerun the experiment.
Of course, how convenient. Also, look how sleepless he is. Look how sleepless he is. You're gonna sit there and tell me that's the face of an innocent man? Look how tired. This is a rich. Oh, you can't see my mouse. You can't see my mouse, right? Why can't you see my mouse? Weird. It's actually kind of weird. Hello. Um, Capture cursor. That's crazy. You can't see it. Okay, so
Self-driving.
So this guy has millions and millions of dollars. He should not be having sleepless recalls like this unless he's in trouble. Also, you got to disclose that while doing the video. You should disclose that clearly, like why you're doing that anyway. This should have been part of the video. And if it wasn't, then that's extremely misleading.
I'm pretty confident it wouldn't be a different result. So to me, it was a distinction without a difference.
I'm going to be honest here and say I have no idea what's true here. This is just way above my pay grade. But he does go on to address the Twitter video that he posted.
In the clip that you posted on Twitter where you said, here's the raw footage, can you explain what it is that we're seeing and what you're trying to explain is happening in that? You said, not sure why it disengages 17 frames before hitting the wall, but my feet weren't touching the brake or gas.
So I think people were saying that I was manually just drove it through because 17 frames, by the way, is like less than a half of a second before it hits the wall. Again, I don't know why it would disengage. I was not pulling on the steering wheel. And by the way, even if I did disengage it, it's less than a half a second before you go off. The outcome would not be different. My guess is maybe the sensors, the ultrasonic sensors, which I think are on the bumper, they probably just disengage if they sense that something big is there and it just stops being in self-driving mode or autopilot, whatever you want to call it.
There have been people that say that it looks like you may have had multiple takes or possibly gone through the wall multiple times. Were there multiple takes? What could you give any insight there?
Was. I mean, this is like what you put in the end video. So the first day we went out there, I think you can even see it. We didn't have like the styrofoam wall. It was just like a vinyl sheet. We did a take. It went right through. I think that was the one that maybe was at 40 miles an hour or something. But it was just like, instead of cutting through it, like which would visually look cool, it just kind of tore the side and like a little flap came up. So it was like, that was a very interesting finding that it actually worked. So you'll see it going through the wall, but it's more of a flap. And then we're like, holy crud, I can't believe that really worked. And then I don't know, like 3 weeks later, we went back out time when schedule permitted, this time with like a styrofoam wall, because I thought it'd be funny if it's like, well, now that
But when you're doing a technological test for the specific reason of testing if a technology like a car is safe to a competitor that may or may not be giving you money to do this video, you need to disclose this shit. What are you doing?
it goes through the walls, we should have like a fun cutout as it goes through. So I guess in the edit, then we used the start of one of those clips. So it went through the wall twice.
So the clip that you posted online or on Twitter was the one where the raw of you actually going through it the second time?
Yes, that's the second time.
But moving on to another hot topic, did Luminar give him any money?
Exactly.
Luminar. There have been a lot of people asking what kind of role they played. Right, the description of the video says they provided the car for testing. Did they have any say in the edit? Did they have any
No
say
edit. They didn't see the edit. I really want to clear this. Luminar gave us no money. They had no say in the edit. They did not approach us. They were just a car technology I know that used LiDAR. So I reached out to them and say, hey, will you let us borrow some cars? And then they let us use the cars. So we didn't pay them to come use. They did not pay us. They had no say. And we didn't know what would happen either, by the way. And we told them, look, if your LiDAR fails one of these, it goes in the video.
He needs to release those emails so that he doesn't get in trouble for false advertising. I think he needs to release some type. Obviously, it's not him, but it's probably his marketing. This could honestly just be, I'll be honest, this could just be an issue that came from his team, not necessarily him, right? But I think there needs to be like, he should have, rather than release a video of multiple takes, which I think that was stupid. Release like censor, obviously blur things out, but be like, oh, here's the email about the original pitch that we did to reach out to them.
And if Tesla would have passed all of them, by the way, that would have gone in the video. Like, I'm very agnostic. I really just wanted to see what would happen. So truly, I don't have a horse in this race.
Okay, so that is at least good, but does he own any stock?
Once again, it's like based off of these accusations. Do you or anyone close to you have any Luminar stock?
I do not own any Luminar stock.
He did the classic look to the right live.
Or I do not know of anyone close to me who owns any Luminar stock. Absolutely unequivocal.
I don't want to pretend like I'm some lie detector, but yeah, I don't know. But I don't believe it because I'm just saying.
And I know you said you love Tesla. Just to confirm, do you have any options or puts on Tesla?
I have no options on Tesla. I have no puts on Tesla. I am just, there's no financial anything in here at all. At all, 100%. I'll go into court of law.
Again, this is very good, especially if he ends up getting
I don't know, but he's a sleepless man, looks like.
Then the final snippet that I'll show from the interview is his response to Luminar removing the video off of their website.
That made them.
So Mark, kind of the last two things I'll hit on. One, do you have any comment or reaction to Luminar removing the link to your video from their website? I believe it was as of this morning.
I think someone said that they had posted it. My guess is they took it down because we were very clear with them, like, you aren't allowed to use this at trade shows. This isn't part of your marketing material. Like, this isn't a puff piece for you. We just want to borrow the car, and whatever happens, happens. So my guess is they felt bad and realized that's a bad look if they are posting it. But we told them, like, this is...
Felt bad? The fuck you talking about, bro? No, they didn't. They would... What? So if they didn't feel bad, you would have been okay with them just keeping it? Nah, I don't know.
Not for your marketing materials. We are just using your car for our video. So if it's down, I'm guessing that's why they took it down, out of respect for us.
I don't know. I think it could be either because of the backlash or maybe losing their largest customer, Tesla, allegedly. I don't know if that's true or not, but those two alternatives sound more realistic than what Mark said. But according to a Motor Trend article, while I was doing research on this, I found out there was a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration report on exactly what happened to Mark's Tesla before impact, where it disengaged from any form of autopilot right before impact. And this was apparently a known flaw. So then my next question is, did this happen here? That would at least explain why the Tesla didn't hit the wall on autopilot, and at least corroborate what Mark was telling Philip DeFranco. I'll be linking Philip's full interview in the description down.
I mean, I believe it though. I believe it because I know a lot of like, it's like a liability thing. Like, say for example, let's say if you're purposely trying to trick the autopilot, and then it's like, well, see, look, it didn't work, and it's like, now you can sue for money. It's like, nah, I think that's kind of fucked up. But at the same time, if you build in that safeguard, it also needs to be smart enough to know when it's not being tricked. You see what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of self-driving cars. I'll be honest. As to why I feel like I'm the most qualified to talk about this, because I just don't care. Literally do not care. I am not buying a self-driving car. Unless somebody wants to sponsor me and I'll drive it, but I don't know. So I'll be honest. So I live here in Seattle. A lot of Tesla drivers. The two worst drivers I encounter all the time: Nissan Altimas and Tesla drivers. For some reason, it's like as soon as they don't have autopilot or self-driving, they just don't know how to drive. Then again, drivers up here are just ass. Horrible. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you agree, disagree? Was I too harsh? Am I too skeptical? Am I right in saying that at the very least, Mark Rober should have done certain things to make his whole test a little bit more transparent and clear? Because now there's just too many, like, I don't know, bro. But you also hang out with Mr. Crypto Zoo. See, you hang out with him. And I think he's also divorced, but I don't know if this has anything to do with it. Anyway, love you guys. Check out the next one. Bye-bye. This video is brought to you actually by viewers like you. Thank you so much for subscribing and being part of my journey and allowing me to be a part of yours. Let's create new memories this 2025 on our road to 1 million subscribers. And with all that jazz out of the way, I just want to say thank you so much. I love y'all and enjoy the video.